Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Now we'll start with Excel first, then we'll go for SQL. Okay, I think this role is more about Excel and SQL. So first we'll start with Excel. Now, can you hear me? Is my voice clear for you? Okay. Now, let me open on Excel. Can you see my screen? Okay. Now we'll start with the basic Excel functions. Okay. We'll try to put which is more relevant from the interview perspective. Okay. So in Excel, they'll be frequently asking about the lookup functions. Okay. So in lookup, we have different functions available. The first one is VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP. See, VLOOKUP function you have to use whenever you want to search for certain kind of data. Okay. In a columnar search, whenever you want to perform some kind of columnar search, at that time VLOOKUP formula has to be used. Okay. It requires four parameters. The first parameter is the lookup value, whatever you want to search. Okay. Second thing is where you want to search it. Okay. The table array has to be given. Then in that table array, you have to just make sure on the first column there is lookup values available, and in that column there are no duplicates there. In the third input, you have to give the column index number. Fourth input, you have to write 0. Okay, that means exact match. Clear? Okay, that is the VLOOKUP formula. Whenever you want to search in a vertical columnar format, at that time you have to use the VLOOKUP. Then we have the opposite for that one, HLOOKUP function. Okay, HLOOKUP function we can use whenever you want to search in a horizontal format. Whenever you want to search in a row or horizontal format, you have to use the HLOOKUP function. Here also same four parameters will be there. The first parameter is the lookup value, second parameter is the table array, third parameter is the row index number. In case of VLOOKUP, it is column index number. In case of HLOOKUP, it is row index number. Okay. Then the last parameter is nothing but the true or false. Okay. After this, we have index and match. Okay, so index match also performs the same job as the lookup function, but the advantage of index match function over a VLOOKUP is VLOOKUP function cannot look on the left side; it will only look on the right side. Here in a table array that you have given, okay, whatever is the data that you want to take, if it is on the right side of the lookup array, then only it is going to take the output. Otherwise it is not going to take. If the data is on the left side, it is not going to accept. But in case of index match, it is going to take whether the data is in the left side or right side, whether it is horizontal format or vertical format, everything can be here you can use in any format, it is going to work. Okay, so index function is going to perform the same job as the VLOOKUP function. The match function here is going to perform it is going to find out the relative position of a certain lookup value that you are looking for. Okay, in a match function we will be having three parameters. The first parameter is the lookup value, second parameter is the lookup array, that means what data you want to find at which place you want to find. Okay, that location has to be selected, one array. Then the last parameter is the exact match or approximate match, we always take the exact match. Then in the index function we have to use this match function. Okay, after that we have the latest one, which is XLOOKUP function. Okay, this XLOOKUP function, this XLOOKUP function is the advanced function which includes all the options available in the VLOOKUP, index match, everything will be included here. Okay, in this XLOOKUP we have six parameters. The first parameter is nothing but the lookup value, what is the value that you are searching for. Okay, Then lookup array where you want to search this lookup value. Okay, and after that you have what is the return array, from which column you want to get that return, from which column you want to get that result. Then the fourth parameter is the lookup value that you are trying to look is not available at the source at the time. Okay, how you want to get the output, whether you want to get the output as NA not available like a error message, or otherwise you want to have any kind of custom message that can be written there. Then in the fifth parameter you have to write whether you want to search from top to bottom or bottom to top. Then the last parameter you have to specify whether you want exact match or approximate match. Okay, all are same kind of lookup functions only. The purpose is same but different functions. One will be having more options compared to the other one. Okay, once lookup functions are done, we have a lot of other lookup functions. Okay, let me check is there any other important things are there. They are going to frequently ask. Okay, h lookup, hyperlink, index match, lookup, offset. Yeah, so here we have something called, okay, offset function. Offset function we have to use whenever you want to ignore some kind of data. Offset in SQL also we have discussed about offset and fetch. Okay, the same kind of option is available in Excel also for offsetting and fetching the data. Both the informations can be written within the offset function. You have to select a data within the data from where you want to start. That is the second parameter. Okay, then how many columns you want to ignore, how many rows you want to ignore. That is the second and third parameter. In the fourth and fifth parameter, okay, you have to specify what is the height you want, what is the width you want. It is nothing but your offset and fetch that clauses that is available in the Oracle database. Clear? Now we'll go for the logical functions. In logical functions, offset. The frequently used logical function is the if function. Okay, now these days we started using switch function also, because it is going to be very easy to write some kind of advanced if functions. Okay, then along with that we'll be writing logical operators and not. Okay, not and these are what we are frequently going to use. Okay, now if function contains three parameters. If function has three parameters. Okay, see, if function we have to use whenever you want to test certain conditions. Then if that condition is true, what answer you want, that has to be written in the second parameter. The first parameter is the condition, second parameter is the uh, answer or the result that you want whenever the condition is true. Then the third parameter is the result that you want whenever the condition is false. Okay, if you want to write a single condition, directly we can use the if function. But whenever you want to write multiple conditions, then you have to write along with the if function and or you have to write. Okay. How AND is going to work? If each of the condition that you have written is true, then the AND condition will become true. Then whatever you have specified in the second parameter will come as a result. Otherwise, whatever you have specified in the third parameter, that means condition is false. Okay, at that time, what result you want, that it is going to take. Okay, then or how it is going to work, whenever one of the condition that you have written is true, that's enough. It is going to extract the data. If all conditions are false, then or logical operator will extract whatever you have written in the third parameter. Okay, it will calculate whatever you have written in the third parameter. Result is false. Then not is for negation purpose. Whenever you want the result in the opposite way, we can use not. Okay. Then we have the switch function available here. Okay. Switch function is especially useful whenever you want to reduce the complexity of if function. In case of if, especially nested if function, if you are writing, then it is going to become very complex, because nested if function you have to write. Inside one if function, you have to write another if. Inside that again one more if function. Inside that again one more if function. So that depends on the number of possible answers for you. If to avoid that kind of nested if function, because whatever the formula that you have written will become very difficult to read. To avoid all of this, what we can do, we can use a switch function. In case of switch, we can write the first parameter as true. Okay, once the condition is true, okay, you whatever the logical test that you are doing, if it is true, what is the answer you want, that you can write it. Okay, The first parameter is true. The second parameter is condition one. Third parameter is result one. If the condition one is true, what is the result one you want? Okay. Otherwise, condition two, okay, then result two. Condition three, result three. Or otherwise, at the end, some default answer will be there. So this way we can use the logical functions. Okay. This is the lookup functions. We have logical functions, then we have aggregate functions. In aggregate functions, they are going to ask you most of the time on sum if is, count if is, this one, sum if is, count if is, that one they are going to use. Okay. Normal sum function everyone knows, normal. Okay. It is simply going to compute what is the total of all the values that you have given in the range. But there is a function called sum if is. Okay. This function is going to extract the data from based on certain conditions. Here we have to write three parameters. The first parameter is the sum range. What is the data that you want to add? Okay. After that, what is the criteria that you want to verify? Okay. Criteria range one. You have to write within that criteria range one. What criteria you want to verify? What condition you want to verify? That you have to write in the third parameter. Okay. Criteria range one, criteria range two, criteria range three, like that any number of criterias we can define, always like a pair we have to write it. In the same way we have count. Okay. Then if they ask you about the difference between count and count a, in case of count, it is going to count only numerical inputs. Count a is going to count even the non-numerical inputs also, even the text also will be counted. Then the average function will count, will take the average. For all of these, we have average is all the things are available. Everything is going to be same. However, you raise some of the function, the same like average plus function is going to be max plus mini plus, all functions are going to be same. These if functions are just like uh, aggregate of if condition, along with that it is aggregate of some function. Both will be included at the same time. Okay. Some, then we have average. Average if is there. Once you understand one thing, sum if is, everything else is going to be same. For count if is there. Okay. Then we have max if is. Then min if is. Fine. These are all the aggregate functions. Then we have also one more function called sum product. You have to use the sum product function whenever you want to product or multiply something and then add the things. At that time, you have to use the sum product function. Okay. Then we have date time functions. In date time functions, they will have some particular questions, particular functions. Data to time functions. Here, the important thing is how to compute the difference between two dates. If you want to compute the difference in terms of years, okay, there is a function called year frag. Okay, for year frag, you have to give two inputs. What is the starting date? What is the ending date? Automatically, it is going to give the difference in terms of years. Okay, if you want to compute the difference in terms of quarters or months, whatever the result you got from this function, okay, you multiply by 12 so that you will get the difference in terms of months. If you want the difference in terms of quarters, you multiply by 4. Okay. Then there is a function called network days. They will ask you how to find the number of working days between two dates. Okay. They will ask you how to find the number of working days between two dates. At that time, you have to use the network days.intl function. Okay. So first you have to give the bigger date, then the smaller date. It has four parameters. What is the starting date? What is the ending date? Then what is the weekend parameter? If you don't write anything, automatically system is going to take as Saturday and Sunday. Then you have to give the holidays parameter. Okay, just give the list of holidays that is falling between the starting date and ending date. So system automatically will compute what is the number of working days between two dates. Then there is something called workday.intl. Okay, this we have to use whenever you want to find out the delivery date. Okay, you started the work today. and the client has given 14 working days for. At that time, what is the delivery date? Okay, working days means in between, if there is any holidays, we have to remove it. If there is any weekends, we have to eliminate it. Okay, after eliminating all of this, what is the delivery date? Okay, that can be done from here. There is network days dot intl function, then workday dot intl. These are the functions. Okay, then year frame, we have a lot of other functions. Let's see here. We have date value, that is conversion functions. Whenever you have date that has been stored in the text data type, but you want to convert into date data type, at that time you can use date. Okay, date value and then time value. All other things are just normal only. Okay, how to extract the year, how to extract month, hour, minute, second. Lot of functions are there, but there are direct and simple functions. Okay, yeah. After this, we have text functions. Okay, in the text functions, we have concat function. How to merge the data? Okay, if you want to merge the data with certain kind of delimiter, concat function is straight away. Concat, open the bracket, any number of inputs that you want to merge. All the things you can keep, and it is going to merge all of that. Then we have a function called text join. You want to merge the data, but you want to merge with certain delimiters. Okay, that means whenever you are merging the data from two columns or two cells, in between that a common separation point should be there. At that time, we can use the text join function. Okay. Then after this, we have a lot of text functions are there. Clean, left, right. Okay, these are all just normal things. If you want to extract the first characters, left, right, mid, all of that can be used. Then number value, whenever a number that has been stored in a text data type, you want to convert it to number data type, you can use number value. Okay, then find and search, both are same type of functions only. Okay, it is going to find out whatever the character that you are searching, and that index number it is going to give. Then we have a replace. Whenever you want to remove some existing in data and you want to replace with something new, we can use a replace function. Okay. Then these functions are available only for me. Text after, text before. Okay, because these are available in the Office 365. Normal Office home or student version doesn't have all of this. Text after, text before, text split. Okay, this is just for splitting the data. Okay, we already have discussed how to split the data. How to do that one, we can just go to data and we can text to columns. All these things can be done. Okay, but here they have given it as a formula. Okay, otherwise both are same one. So these are all the different functions they are going to ask you. Apart from functions, what they are going to ask? Okay. They are going to ask you about conditional formatting. Okay, if they have certain kind of data, they will tell this is the data set that I have. I want to highlight all of these things. At that time, we can use the conditional formatting. So in case of conditional formatting, you just need to use the different options available here. Okay. So we have top bottom rules, then greater than, less than, lot of rules are there. All the rules will be used here. Then after this one, they will ask you about the pivot tables. Okay, tables and the pivot tables. Tables will help you to structure the data in a more uh, presentable manner, we can say. Okay, it is about more presentable manner. Along with that, the tables are helpful for us to analyze the data in the form of pivot tables, because pivot tables are required for us for data analysis. They definitely will ask about pivot tables because it is used for data analysis. Whatever is the huge amount of data, it doesn't matter. Simply we can create a pivot table and we can start analyzing the data. Okay, in pivot table, we'll be having four inputs. The first input is the uh, value. Okay, that means the data point that you want to analyze. Then we'll be having rows and columns. In rows, you have to put whatever is the data point that you want to analyze. Okay, on the columns also same thing. In filter, you have to put the dimension upon which you want to filter the entire pivot. Okay, so in different ways, this pivot table can be used. Then inside pivot table, they will ask you about grouping. Okay, grouping means we can club some kind of things together. Okay, some items are there. Okay, product A, B, C, D. All these are electronic items. We can select the product A, B, C, D. We can click on group. Then they can be plugged together so that they'll be treated as a unit. Okay, this is called grouping. Then they will ask you, I want to compute certain kind of percentages within pivot tables. There is no necessity to write any kind of formulas. Just go to the value, give a right click. Then you will get option called show values as. Okay, if you click on the prompt, automatically it is going to show values as a percentage of whatever the thing you want. Percentage of brand total, column total, row total, different things we can use it. Okay, then sometimes they will ask, okay, about data model pivot table. Data model pivot table means the pivot table only, but it will be like a data model. Whatever we have discussed in Power BI, the same way it will be looking. Okay, in a pivot table, in a data model, what will be their relationships will be there. Different tables will be there. Amongst the tables, there will be dependencies through primary key and then foreign key. Okay, so such kind of relationships you have to create and then you have to analyze. That is only called pivot table data model. If they ask you, you can tell I am aware of it. Okay, because all of these things we have done in Excel also as well as in Power BI. We have spent a lot of time on all of this. Okay, especially whenever you're writing tags, again and again I have showed you this particular tags model. Okay, this pivot whatever is the data model that we have done, okay, that we have repeatedly accessed. One to many relationship, many to many relationships, lot of things are there. All those things are available in Excel also. Okay, then after this they will ask you about pivot charts. Okay, pivot charts directly can be generated through pivot tables. Okay, pivot tables, pivot charts can be done through pivot tables. Whatever is the pivot table that you have done, based on that, automatically a chart is going to be generated. Okay, whenever you change the pivot chart, pivot table, automatically pivot chart is going to change. And this is especially helpful whenever you want to build the dashboards. Okay, we have built a lot of dashboards. I think 3 projects we have done in Power BI. Okay, the same way we can perform the dashboards even in Excel also. But the problem with respect to Excel is in Excel the ability to handle huge data sets is very less. Okay, it will crash frequently. And here we cannot separate our data from the visualizations. Okay, visualization and data must be in the same place only, otherwise it is not going to work. Okay, then after that, they will ask you to make any kind of okay dashboards. Okay, dashboards means they will ask what is the meaning of dashboard. Dashboard means a single page story, the entire story about your data. Okay, if you can tell within a single page, that is what you call as dashboard. All the relevant information that a particular team wants will be available at one certain place. That is only called dashboard. Okay, if you want to make dashboard, you have to come to the insert. Here, there is a lot of charts available. Okay, we can use different type of charts. Actually, not this way we do. What we first try to generate a pivot table. In the pivot table, there is an option called pivot chart. Through pivot chart, we'll be doing the dashboards because whenever new data comes, if you change the data and then refresh the pivot table, automatically the entire thing is going to change. Okay, whatever is the dashboard that you have done, everything will change. Okay, so on there we can use slicers also. Whenever you are using slicers, automatically the pivot table, pivot charts, everything is going to change. I hope it is clear for all of you. Now, and they will ask, okay, they may ask sometimes, okay, what are the different type of charts that we have? Okay, column charts we have. Column charts will help us to plot the categorical data for each category. What is the value available that we can plot? Okay, then if you want to see the contribution rate from each category, then you have to use this particular pie charts you have to use. Okay, column charts and bar charts for showing the values, but pie chart for showing the rates. Okay, then waterfall chart we can use whenever we want to show the cumulative impacts. Okay, from beginning to ending, what is the impact, whether it is going up or coming down, that is the waterfall chart. Then we have line chart. Line charts we have to use whenever you want to plot the trends. Okay, if there is a time series information within your data, at the time you are expected to use some kind of line chart. Then we have combo charts available. Combo charts has to be used whenever you want to show the categorical data. Along with that, you want to show the trends also. Both you want to show at the same time. Okay. At that time we can use this combo charts. Then after that what we have? We have funnel chart. Funnel chart will help us to show the product to show the contributions, okay, from highest contribution to lowest contribution. We have then maps will help us to visualize the data in the form of graphs, okay. Say this map geographical data, whatever is there, if you want to plot that kind of data, we can use maps, okay. Here also you see pivot chart is there, okay. We can insert a pivot table and then we can do the pivot chart. Most of the times we'll be using this pivot chart option, okay, not from here but through the pivot table, but both are same things only, okay. Then after this they will ask about formulas. They will ask some kind of normal questions like how to remove duplicates, okay. If you want to remove duplicates, there are two ways. You can go use the unique function. There is a function called unique, you can use that one. Or otherwise in the data there is an option called remove duplicates. Here there is an option called remove duplicates, you can remove the duplicates, okay. If you want to highlight the duplicates, then you have to use the conditional formatting, okay. Then after this, we have data validation rules. Okay, sometimes they will tell, I want to put only this kind of information in this particular column. How will you do that? Okay, if you want to do such kind of restrictions for the data that has to be entered into a particular table or a column, then you have to define the data validation rules. Okay, and especially in case of dashboards they will ask, okay, I want to have a drop down list, okay. If they want to have a drop down list, what you can do in the data validation rules, there is a list option available, we can use that list option, okay. And they will ask you about this kind of what if analysis. What if analysis is required whenever you want to understand what are the possible impacts of changes in the variables. Whenever you change certain kind of data, okay, how it is going to impact your output. Okay, such kind of things that you want to analyze within Excel, we can use this text to columns option. Okay. Um, what if analysis. I'm sorry. This scenario manager is there again. Scenario manager we have to use whenever we want to define the scenarios, okay. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, most possible case scenario, okay. Such kind of scenarios you want to use it. Especially these things are used, okay, in MIS environment, okay. In MIS we'll be having huge amount of sheets, okay. Sheet 1 2 3 4 like this, some 20 30 sheets will be there, okay. If you make changes at one place, automatically all the 30 sheets will get updated at the same time, okay. At those places this scenario manager is going to be very useful. Along with that, they will tell you how to perform sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis is nothing but the data table. Whenever you have change in the variables, okay. So at the time, how your output is going to change. To understand that one, we can use this data table, okay. Then they will ask about macros. You can tell about macros, okay, saying that you know how to record a macro. Don't tell you know how to write macros, okay? Because if you want to write macros, you have to learn the Visual Basic programming language. You have to learn just like SQL. We have a programming language called Visual Basic. Entire Excel is going to work on the Visual Basic language only. You have to learn the entire Visual Basic language. Then you can build automation tools using Excel. Okay, but you tell them you know how to record a macro for repetition of it. They will tell why macros are required. Macros are required whenever you want to automate a repetitive work. Okay, the main thing is it has to be repetitive work. Okay, again and again the same work has to be done. Okay, at the time only we can use this macro. If it, every time you are doing in a different process, at that time macros cannot be used. Macros means only repetitive processes can be automated. You can start recording a macro. Once you will record the macro, the entire process will be stored in the background. Okay, and once it has been stored, you can call that macro again, and it is going to get executed. Okay, then in the home button, what do we have? That's it. These are all the things. Okay. Sorting and filtering. We can sort, okay, based on colors, based on values, whatever the way you want to do it, we can do it. Okay. Even filtering also, we can filter based on colors, sorting, okay, conditional icons, anything can be done. Then in case of filter, okay, sometimes they will ask you about advanced filter. This is one advanced filter option is there. Okay. In if they are asking orally about SQL, about Excel, they mostly will ask this thing. These things they will ask. These things they will ask. Okay, some if is count if is. Okay, then these things they are going to ask. Okay, and these tables and pivot tables. These are the main areas only they are going to focus. And what if analysis. Okay, this is the data analysis using Excel. Okay, scenario analysis. Okay, what if analysis. What if analysis. Okay, then they may ask, okay, about nesting of functions. Okay, how to write complex Excel function. Then we can tell, okay, yes, we can write nesting of functions. Then if they want to ask you more about Excel, they can ask about this thing. Okay, power query is there. Okay, launch power query editor. 100% same as the power query that we have discussed within the Power BI. In Power BI we have done the data cleaning using power query. Okay, the same options are available here. We can just go here, data source are there, new source. We have a lot of sources available, file, databases, power platform, these are all Microsoft services only. Okay, it is going to show you a lot of things. You can just go there and then connect to it and then extract the data. Okay, online services will, okay, anywhere you can go and connect it. Okay, they will ask what are the different type of connectors. You can tell them, okay, that you know even power query also within the Excel, because it is same as the Power Query that we have learned within the Power BI application. Okay, everything is going to be same. You might have seen this remove rows, keep rows, first row getters, append queries, merge queries, combine files. Everything is just same as whatever you found within the Power Query within the Power BI application. These are all the things. Okay. Then what else is available here? Power Pivot. This is all about Excel. Now let's discuss about SQL. If they theoretically ask, it won't be any difficult because repeatedly they will ask the same type of questions only. Do you know lookup functions? Do you know that? Do you know this? That only they will ask. But if they ask you to write any kind of test and all, I think there is no test tomorrow because they are putting some two or three kinds of rounds. Okay, they are not talking about any kind of test on the subject. They are doing some kind of normal test like aptitude test, that this and that. But here, okay, there is nothing about a particular table. I'll share the Excel sheet. Okay, don't worry. This is for Excel. This is for SQL. In case of SQL, the main thing is the basics they are going to ask you. Okay, what is the where class? What are the DDL components of SQL? Okay, and inside that, what are the different keywords available? Then what is the difference between where class and having class? Then how do you summarize the data? Okay, then they are going to ask you about different kinds of joins. What are subqueries? What are constraints? Okay, what are aggregate functions? What are the normal type of functions? Okay, then set operations. These are just the basic things. Okay, everywhere they are going to ask such type of questions. Now we'll try to spend some time on that part. Okay, whatever is they frequently going to focus in the interview, that only will try to do. But if they ask you to write any kind of test, for that you should have practice going. I've given a lot of practice questions for you. Okay, whatever we have discussed in the class. All that if you are able to technically understand how they are working, that is more than enough to write the test. Okay. There they will give some three or four tables, and based on the tables they will ask some kind of question. Okay, this is what I wanted. Okay, write a query for that. Like that we can. The test will be there. But this time, I don't think so. You'll be writing any kind of test. Only some theoretical questions will be there. Okay. First thing is about the. They will ask, okay, what is the difference between, okay, SQL and RDBMS? Okay. They will ask about what is the difference between SQL versus, okay, RDBMS. SQL is the language used to communicate with a relational database management system. SQL server is there. Okay, that is the Oracle database is there. That is the RDBMS. Okay, to interact with that Oracle database, we have to use the SQL language. Okay, SQL is a language, structured query language. RDBMS is a database where our data is stored in a structured and organized manner. Okay, then uh, what are the components of SQL? They will ask. Okay, components of SQL. Then they can ask, okay, how SQL is related to databases. Okay, SQL is the language used to communicate with the databases. Whatever the data that has been stored within the database, if you want to retrieve, or otherwise you want to manipulate the database, any kind of interaction that you want to do with the database, you must do it using the SQL language. That's how you should be able to tell. Okay, then components of SQL language. Then, what are the components of SQL language? SQL language has five major components. Okay, we have DDL that defines, okay, data definition, how data has to be stored in the database, how many objects. It deals about creation of the objects within the database. Objects include tables, views, indexes, sequences, okay, stored procedures. All of them are objects only. They'll be storing some kind of information. Such kind of objects, whenever you want to create, we have to use the DDL statements. Then we have to use DML. Okay, and you see here, DDL statements are implicitly committed. Implicitly committed. That means they're automatically saved. You need not manually save it. But DML operations here, what are the keywords are there? In case of DDL, we have the keywords like, okay, create, alter, rename, truncate, drop. Truncate, comma, drop. On this areas only they will ask a lot. What is the difference between, okay, truncate and delete? What is the difference between truncate and drop? Okay, I want to change the data type for a particular column. How will you change the data type? These are the frequent things they will ask. Okay, DML. DML is data manipulation language statements. Whenever you want to manipulate the tables within a database, you have to use the DML statements. Here we have insert, update, and delete. And remember one thing, these are explicitly committed. That means we have to manually save it. Otherwise, they will not get saved. Okay, you have to tell, okay, save this by you passing some kind of commit statement. You have to just say begin transaction commit. Okay, then execute it. It is going to save whatever the changes that you have performed. Okay, whatever the DML operations you have performed, permanently they will be saved in the database server. Okay, or the RDBs. Then we have TCL statements. Okay. TCL statements is the transaction control language statements. Here we have commit and rollback. So once a table has been created, if you create it by mistake, okay, you cannot say rollback because these are automatically saved. Okay, even if you say rollback, nothing is going to happen. Okay, if you want to delete a table that you have created by mistake, the only solution is drop that table. That's it. Okay, but DML operations, you have done some kind of work. Okay, you need some DML operations you have performed, some insert. Okay, some operations you have done, but all these things you want to ignore. At the time, we can say a rollback. Then from the last 10 minutes, okay, the last time whenever you have saved it, okay, from that point of time to the time you pass this rollback statement, whatever the DML operations that you have done, everything is going to be wiped off. That is the rollback command. Okay. Then we have DCL, data control language statements. Here we are going to define the access for the users to the database. Okay. Grant and revoke is available. Grant is used to give permission to the people. Revoke is used to take the permission back from the users. Then the last one is the DQL. Here it is grant and revoke. Grant, TCL, transaction control in this one. DQL, data query language tables. Okay. Here we have only one select statement, one statement called select. Select is very complex statement and it contains a lot of clauses inside of it. Okay. So select is used to retrieve the data from a particular database, or you want to make certain kind of calculations and then retrieve the data, then also select statement can be used. Okay. It is fundamentally used for retrieval as well as calculation. Okay. And whatever the calculation or the retrieval that you want to perform, you have to write it in the select list. Select list is nothing but whatever you write in the select keyword and the from keyword. Ultimately, the answer that you are going to see on the down always depends on the select list. Okay. Then in the select list, we always will write this select statement. We always will write from class. That is used to be reference to the source. Whatever you want to extract or whatever you want to calculate, first you should be able to give input. Okay, that inputs are the data has been stored in the table. Table reference has to be given. Then, if you want to filter the rows from a table, you have to use the where class. Okay, whenever you want to filter the groups, you have to use the having class. Okay, where class to filter. Okay, where this where class is used to filter rows from a table. Rows from a table. Okay, having class is used to filter groups. Okay, to filter the groups. In case of having where clause, we are going to write the conditions involving the columns from the table. Okay. But in case of having clause, we are going to write the conditions mostly involving aggregate functions. Okay. And sometimes they will ask what is the SQL writing order. Okay. How to write the SQL order, SQL select statement. Okay, you have to write select from where group by having order by. Okay, then at the end if you want to write offset on fetch, that also can be written. Okay, then uh, filter groups. We have operators available here. Whenever this, there are three type of operators, which is comparison operators or boolean operators. Then we have logical operators and the like operator. These three operators has different purposes. Okay, but they can be written only within the where class. Okay, if you try to write it anywhere apart from the where class, these three clauses are not going to work. Okay, then after this we have uh, what is that name? Grouping class. Yeah, grouping class. Whenever you want to summarize the data at a category level, we can use the grouping class. But whenever you are doing the grouping, you must be able to write at least one aggregate function within the select list. Otherwise, grouping class is going to not going to work. The purpose of grouping class is to generate summary at a category level. If you are not interested at a category level, then there is no need to write any kind of grouping class. If you want to compute the totals, aggregate functions, on the entire table basis, then you did not write any kind of grouping class. But if you want to do the summary at a category level, then you must implement the grouping class. Okay. And one more condition you have to keep in mind is whenever you are doing the grouping, the column upon which you are doing grouping can only be written within the select list. Other columns cannot be written within the select list. Otherwise, simply it is going to reject your request, whatever the request that you are sending. Okay. By having now order by clause is there. Okay, order by clause, the purpose is to sort the data that has been generated by the grouping class in anything. Okay, order by clause always in the SQL writing order as well as execution order will be at the end of it. Select writing order is select from where group by having order by offset refetch. Okay, this is the order. Then SQL writing execution order is from join, then the where class. After that, it is going to take the grouping class. After that, aggregate functions. After that, having class. After that, the analytical functions. After that, select statement is going to be directed. Okay, it is going to be executed. After this, we have set operators. Then we have case expressions. All those things are available. Okay. Then after this grouping, we have string functions as well as aggregate functions. Functions are required whenever you want to make certain kind of calculations. Okay. In the row functions, we have uh, substring, in string. Here only we have discussed about the concept of nesting of functions. Nesting of functions means a function that has been written inside another function. It's called nesting of functions. Okay. These nested functions will be evaluated first, the result of which will become as input for the other functions. It is especially useful whenever you want to make the parameters or the inputs for the outer function to be dynamic. Okay, whenever you change the row under evaluation, automatically the inputs from the outer function should change. That is what we call the nesting of function. Okay, then here in case of string functions, we have replace and translate is there. Okay, then we have left trim, L trim, right trim, trim, then L pad, R pad, different kind of functions that we have that way. Okay, then after that, date and time functions. How to add a certain number of days, how to find the difference between two dates, how to add a certain number of months and years to the existing date or time information. All of the things are available here. Then we have discussed about the uh, conversion functions. They may not ask about conversion functions, okay, but such kind of conversion functions are also available for us. Okay, to underscore char, to underscore date. This no one is going to ask you. If you want to ignore, we can ignore this component. Then we have the table creation. Within the table creation, we have discussed about the constraints. Constraints means the limitations on that particular column within the table. Okay. So whatever is the unnecessary data that you don't want to enter within a table, you can remove it by writing some kind of constraints. In that column, if you don't want any kind of nulls or duplicates, okay, then we can make it. And if you want to use it for identity purpose, then you can create it as a primary key. If you want the values in a particular column be always accessed from a particular location, you can create it as a foreign key because the values in a foreign key column are always referred from the associated primary key or the parent table. It all depends on your requirement, how you want the model to be developed, how interdependencies has to be developed. Then after this, we have not null unique. Not null means nulls are not allowed in that column. Even though it is not a primary key column, nulls it is not going to accept. Unique means only distinct values. Then we have default. Default. Whenever you don't give any kind of input, automatically system is going to put some kind of information, provided you have written some kind of default constraint on that column. Then the last one is check constraint. It is just like a where clause. Whenever you add the data to a table, if the data that you are trying to add is satisfying the conditions that you have written, then it is going to accept. Otherwise, simply it is going to reject it. Okay. Then we have discussed about joins. Okay. Where clause, having clause. Okay. Where versus having, grouping. Okay. Then sorting, there is nothing to ask. Okay, offset and fetch also they will ask. Offset and fetch. Whenever you want to ignore certain kind of data, we can use offset. Whenever you want to extract only particular data, we can use fetch. Okay, if you want to ignore some data and if you want to accept only some data, then we have to use offset and fetch together at the same time. Then it is going to work. Then constraints. You have six types of constraints. All the six type of constraints you have to keep in mind. They will ask what is the constraint. Okay, what are the different type of constraints. Then they will tell some kind of scenario. Okay, I have the situation like this. Then how to deal with it. This all simple only, but not so complex. Okay. Then after this, we have joins. These are the very important one, both for interview purpose, theoretical interview purpose, as well as practical questions also. Every time, if they are asking to write any kind of test, definitely it will include joins. Without joins, there will be no question. Okay. Now, joins will help us to merge the data that has been stored across various tables. Okay. How these joins are going to happen? It is going to happen based on the common columns. Nothing but between the two tables, what is the primary key and foreign key. Okay. If there is a relationship between these two tables called primary key and foreign key, through primary key and foreign key, it is going to merge and it is going to extract the data. Then they'll ask what are the different type of joins. Okay. We have inner join, left join, right join, full join, then self join. Inner join will merge the records from both the tables if they are matching. Okay, they means primary keys and foreign keys. Whatever the columns that you are written down plus, if that values are matching from the table one as well as the table two, then the merge is going to happen. Okay, left join means all the records from the left table will be taken along with that. Okay, the matching records from the right table will be taken. That is called the left join. Right join means all the records from the sorry, merging records of both the matching records from both the tables plus unmatched records from the right table will be extracted. Full join means all records from the left table as well as right table. Everything will be considered in place of full join. Self join means joining a table with itself. Okay. This kind of scenarios will happen whenever there are self-referential integrity keys. Self-referential integrity key means foreign keys. Referential integrity means foreign key. Self-referential means a foreign key whose associated primary key is also available in the same table. Such kind of things are called self-referential integrity keys. Okay. Then we have after this uh, set operations we have done. And whenever you want to merge a table that do not have direct relationships, you want to merge table A and D, but there is no direct relationship between A and D. At the time, what you can do, you can use some kind of bridging table, a common column between the first and the last one. That also can be done. Okay. Then we have set operators. These set operators will help us to consolidate the data that has been stored across various tables. Okay, consolidate in the sense we want to take the data stored in the first table, okay, as well as the second table. Like it should be common data, same category of data. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is sales information from store 1, store 2, store 3, such kind of information, or otherwise employees information from store 1, store 2, store 3 that you want to store within a single table. At that time, especially in the data warehousing environment, we can use this particular uh, set operators. Okay, the set operators are only four for us. Either it is union or intersect or minus. Okay, union means only the distinct records from both the tables will be extracted. Then uh, intersect means only the common records or the duplicates between the two tables will be extracted. Then, in case of union all, here system is going to forget about that verification of duplications. Everything it is going to extract, whether it is duplicated, triplicated, doesn't matter. Everything it is going to pull out. Then minus means only the distinct records from the table one will be evaluated. Other things will not be extracted. Then after this, we have case expressions. Case expressions will help us to evaluate the data on a condition. You have to write case, okay, when, then, else you have to write. When, write the condition. Then, what is the answer you want? Okay, when condition, then answer. When condition, then answer. There will be certain kind of values whose uh, there will be certain column value in the column which is not satisfying any conditions that you have written. For them, there is a optional parameter available called else parameter. Here, it is going to this else is just like a default answer. Any value which is not satisfying the conditions given will get this kind of default answer. Okay. Once this is done, we have done this. Subqueries. Subqueries are the queries that are written inside another query. Subqueries will help us to execute some kind of complex queries and also to evaluate our conditions on the runtime basis. Whenever you are running the query at that point of time, okay, what is the condition that can be verified through the subqueries. Okay, subqueries will reduce the performance. Whenever you want to use subqueries, first think whether that can be done using joins. If that can be done using joins, try to do using the joins only. If that is impossible to do, then we can use subqueries. Okay, a query that has been written inside inner query, inside another query is called subquery or inner query. Okay, by default, the inner query will be evaluated first by the system, and then whatever the result of this one is going to be provided as an input for the outer queries. Then the outer query is going to get executed and it is going to give the output file. Okay, then within the subqueries, we have different types of subqueries. Single row subquery, multi-row subquery. In case of multi-row subquery, always use in operator. Don't use equality. Use the in operator. Okay. Then after that, we have to use greater than equal to, less than equal to. Don't use directly. Along with that, you have to write either any or or. Any is going to behave like or logical operator. Or is going to work like and logical operator. Okay. Then multi-column subqueries. Here, in case of multi-column subqueries, it is going to generate multiple columns as output. In the outer query, you have to plug the brackets so that it is going to understand there is multiple inputs coming from the subquery. Then we have correlated subquery. Correlated subquery will help you to evaluate the subquery for every row within the outer table. They will ask you when do we need to perform correlated subqueries. Whenever you want to evaluate the subquery for every row in the outer table, at the time you have to do this correlated subquery. Clear? Then in case of correlated subquery, they will ask you what is the difference between a normal subquery and correlated subquery. A correlated subquery will help you uh, correlated subquery, it is going to evaluate the subquery repeatedly. How many times it is going to be dependent on the number of rows that is present in the outer query. But in case of a normal subquery, it is not going to be repeated. Simply once it will be executed and the result of which will be given as input to the outer query. Okay. And in case of normal subquery, the subquery will be evaluated only once. Since it is evaluated only once, the performance is better. In case of correlated subquery, since it is evaluated again and again, it is going to take more time compared to a normal subquery. This performance will not be so good. Then this is all about subqueries. Subqueries can be written literally anywhere. In the select list also we can write it. In the from class, where class, having class, anywhere we can write the subqueries. Even in the offset and fetch classes also we can do that. Or otherwise we can do that even in the insert and update commands also. If you want to do some kind of bulk insert or bulk update, at the time this subqueries, correlated subqueries will be useful. After this, we have discussed about the database objects. Okay, we have discussed about views. Yeah, views are also called as logical tables or virtual tables. Why? Because in these tables there will be no data inside of it. What it will be storing is simply whatever the query that you have given it. Okay, so in these tables there will be no data. There will be no data redundancy also. But you should be careful whenever you want to create a view. You can create it, but they will get restricted access to the data. The main purpose of creation of views is to restrict the data from the end user. If you want only a subset of table information, I will create a view for that subset of table information and I will give access to that particular person. Then views are of two types, normal views as well as materialized views. Normal views, it is going to store only the logic that you have specified. But materialized views, it is not going to store only the select statement that you have written or the logic. Not only that one, it is going to store even the result of the select statement also. So in case of views, materialized views, two objects will be created at the same time. In case of normal thing, it is going to create only one subquery. Once you run a create statement, only one database will be, only one query will be executed. Then here, if you understand these views, once you give access for the end users, they are going to give access only to the select statement that you have written. Okay, but for DML operations, that means your insert, update, delete, they will get the complete access. Okay, to avoid that from happening while creating the views, you have to create the views using with check option or with read only. Okay, if you don't write anything, then the end user will get the complete access. That will create a problem from the data security perspective. But if you write with read only, no one can perform any kind of label operation on that particular field. Okay. Normal views are generally created within the uh, Materialized views are created in the data warehousing environments. Okay, OLAP databases, online analytical processing. Then normal views are created in the OLATP databases, online transaction processing, which is holding the current data. That means maybe the last 2 months data, last 3 months data, such kind of data will be stored there. Okay. After this, we have created indexes. Indexes will help us to retrieve the data in an efficient manner, in a fast and efficient manner. Because whenever you write a where clause, it has to scan the table, it has to filter the table. Okay. While filtering, it is going to go to the table and extract, and it is going to apply this condition for first row within the table to the last row within the table. Okay, this much of IO operation is not actually required. The reason why it is doing all of this is because in a table you have stored the data without any kind of order. Okay, that's why all these things are going to happen. But if you have stored the data in a particular order, you can directly go to a particular location and then extract the data, whatever is there as per your requirement. Okay, how to do that one? Because a view, a index, whenever you create, it is going to store the data in a tree format. Okay, like a balanced tree format, it is going to create. Okay, in that tree, there will be branches which is going to hold our range of data. All transactions that is starting from one, okay, to $10 will be stored in one branch. $10 to $15 in the second branch. 15 to $40 in the third branch. Like that, the branches will be there. So first, what SQL is going to do, it will go to the branches, it will verify the branches. Whatever is the branch that is satisfying the condition, it will go inside the branch. Inside the branch, there will be leaves. Okay, leaf nodes will be there. Inside the leaf nodes, our data will be actually stored. Okay, so it will go to the leaf nodes, it will extract whatever is the row ID, and then it will come back to the database, and then it is going to extract the data for it. Okay, indexes are of many types. Writing of index, okay, brings advantages also as well as disadvantages also. The advantage is it is going to increase the performance of the query. Okay, it is going to increase the performance of your SQL query. But the problem is it is going to increase data redundancy. Along with that, it is also going to slow down your DML operations. To improve again the DML operations, you have to do the partitioning of table. All things has to be done. You have to just physically break the tables into small tables. All of the things are going to happen. Okay, so advantages are there as well as disadvantages are there. So you must carefully evaluate, okay, for what columns you want to create the views and what columns you don't want to create the views. We have different types of views. A simple view, okay, that means on a single column within table we have created that view. If you want to create some kind of concatenated view, that also can be done. If you write two columns, automatically concatenation will happen. Then they will ask you about function based view. Okay, function based index. Okay, this function based index means in that index we are going to write a certain kind of calculation that is called function based. Okay, then after this we have um, uh, bitmap index. Yeah, bitmap index will help you to store the data in the form of bits, zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. It is going to reduce the size of your index. Okay. After that, we have discussed about sequences. Sequences are also database objects. Here, we will be storing the logic. Okay, for generating series of values. I want to generate the inverse numbers 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004 like that. Okay. At that time, you can create a sequence, and that sequence can be used only inside a insert statement. Insert into DEBT values. Then you have to write the name of the sequence dot next value. That next value function is going to pull whatever is the new value within the sequence till it reaches the maximum value. Once it reaches the maximum value, depending whether you have said okay cycle or no cycle, it is going to behave. If you say no cycle, it is going to throw error. If you say cycle, it is going to restart at the minimum value. Okay. Then after this, we have discussed about the synonyms. These synonyms are stored permanently within the database. Okay, you can use aliases for a table. You can write any kind of synonym. Okay, you can use the original table name or the original table name or otherwise the alias can be used. Both are going to work as usual. Okay. Then comments we have discussed, that is not required comments under. Then they will ask you about analytical functions, especially the ranking functions. They will say, I want to see the second highest employee salary, third highest employee salary. Okay. What you have to do, you have to use the dense rank function and then extract the second highest and then third highest function. Okay. If you want to do comparative analysis of data, then what you can do, you can use this read function and then lag function and then you can compare the data. Okay. Then after this, we have some data dictionary tables in the data. Data dictionary tables are going to store metadata, data about the database that are going to store. Okay. It is used for efficient functioning of the database. Lot of information about the database will be stored here. Whenever this RDBMS wants to do some kind of work, first it will go and verify the metadata tables. Okay. Whether some column names are available or not, whether table name existing or not, whether the person is having access or not. Okay. All these things it is going to execute. Okay. Then after this, that's it. SQL. Mostly you have to focus on the joins and then the set operations, subqueries, analytical functions, then the normal functions. Then after that, okay, the square class, grouping class, having class, DDL, DML, those basic things only they are going to ask. Theoretical interview means it is going to be very easy. All expected things only will be there. For how many people you take, the same kind of questions only. Some maximum, some 40, 50 questions will be there. Repeatedly, they will be asking the same kind of scenarios only. Or they will give the associated scenario. Sorry, wherever they go, they will tell the same question only. I have a scenario like this, what will you do? Instead of directly asking, tell me about create statement, okay, or tell me about truncate statement, they are going to tell, I have the scenario like this, what will you do? Then you have to understand that scenario and then you have to tell that particular thing. Clear? This one should be sufficient. Okay. And just go through the notes that I have given for SQL purpose. Constraints. Okay. What is the meaning of each constraint? What is the meaning of each join? What is the meaning of each set operator? Okay. So that things if you learn, that is more than enough for tomorrow's purpose. But if you want to write good queries and all, you have to practice a lot. Clear? Fine. Now you can leave. All the best for your tomorrow interview. Okay.